From Nutrien Ag Solutions, I'm Senior Atmospheric Scientist Andrew Pritchard with your Canadian Prairie weather story for Thursday, December 12th, 2024. Your 10-day takeaways, another shot of Arctic air moving through the prairie, coldest in the east today, a little more mild, relatively speaking, in the west across portions of Alberta. Got a wintry mix coming in late this weekend into the early part of next week, Sunday, Monday, heaviest in the east. And then those temperatures continue to fluctuate. A bit of a warming trend as we head into the weekend. Another shot of very cold air early next week, with another warming trend as we head into next weekend. So looking at the satellite picture here, infrared satellite, got a lot going on. Really strong jet stream winds feeding into this developing cyclone here across eastern portions of Canada, down into the northeastern U.S. Big polar front extending south from that one delivered a shot of cold air to the Great Lakes over the last couple of hours. You see the really extremely cold air showing up as green here. This is, snowpack and just bitterly cold Arctic air. We've got these little disturbances that are kind of rotating around the base of this upper level low, bringing in some very cold Arctic flurries. We got some very powdery snow that's going to be stacking up way down here in the American Midwest where I am recording this video presently. And then we've got a little disturbance that's kind of snaking down the west coast of the U.S. right now that's going to eject here and bring a little rain to parts of the central U.S. before lifting northward and bring in some precipitation to eastern portions of the prairie. Again, it's these storm systems that lift into the region that are a little more efficient at producing precipitation across the region. This one in particular, just not all that wrapped up, though it still will have the potential here to drop, a few inches of snow, maybe 5 to 15 centimeters of snow in some areas as we get into Sunday and Monday. Current temperatures here Thursday morning, again, in the minus 25 to minus 35 range. We've got extreme cold warnings in place across central and eastern Saskatchewan into central and southern portions of Manitoba, and that bitterly cold air is pushing south of the U.S. border here into the upper Midwest as well. Again, I mentioned a little more mild as you make your way further to the west. Calgary, Edmonton, you're in that minus 10 to minus 15 degree range, so break out the shorts. It's feeling quite balmy compared to folks over in the east here this morning. This cold, bitterly cold, dry air, this Arctic air, it doesn't hold much moisture, so not much in the way of precipitation across the radar. It feels like winter out there, but only flurries across the Peace River area into portions of northern and central Alberta today. Again, we've got higher pressure across the region. It's a polar high with cold air being kind of yanked southward around the base of that deep upper level low over the Great Lakes. So you see the flow coming from north to south across the prairie. That's the recipe for a very cold pattern. If we kind of flip over and look at the jet stream winds, again, I mentioned there that strong flow coming around the base of that trough, that upper level low in the Great Lakes, south of the Hudson Bay, pulling a lot of cold air south, a lot of cold, dry air. We do have a run of flow across the Pacific here loaded with storm systems, and that's going to kind of agitate the pattern here and give us at least a couple of chances for precipitation over the next 7 days and some variety to those temperatures as this pattern kind of evolves and flows. Again, certainly, progressive over the next 10 days, I would call it. Not much in the way of focused activity across the prairie in the near term. This is your Thursday into Friday. Again, kind of quiet overhead with this split flow. We'll see this area of low pressure dig in across the central U.S. as we get into the weekend. And then we see some, a disturbance lift into the prairie Sunday into Monday. And that's the one that kicks off that chance for some wintry precipitation as we get into that Sunday night, Monday morning time frame. Now, the pattern continues to move on. We'll develop another big trough across the region here again at the later part of next week. You see that flow once again north to south very fast across the prairie. That is our next shot of cold air that comes in mid to late next week. Now, as we look at the moisture here over the next 10 days, again, it's quite dry. You see the gray shading there. That is just bitterly cold, dry polar air. And then we get these little shots of moisture. It's sparse. It's I'm looking for a word here and I'm not finding it, so we'll just move on. But it's light doses of moisture that is able to be kind of squeezed out, some light doses of snow. Again, I mentioned the one here Sunday into Monday. There you see it, just kind of the flip from gray to brown shading there. That's that little pulse of moisture. We see another one coming in here as we get into Sunday night and Monday. This one will bring a little chance of some light snow to the prairie as we get into the middle part of next week as well. So let's look at the precipitation forecast over the next 10 days from the European model. Again, not much going on other than some flurries in the near term, Thursday into Friday. It's as we get into, this is Saturday, Sunday night that you start to see that wintry mix developing here Across eastern Saskatchewan into central and southern Manitoba, the area of low pressure wraps as it lifts further north, pulling some colder air around the backside. We'll get a little burst of heavier snow Sunday night into Monday across eastern Saskatchewan into central and southern portions of Manitoba. Pretty much get missed by this one in Alberta. High pressure comes in on the backside, quieting us down for the early to middle part of next week. You see some flurries, maybe some light snow sneaking by through portions of Alberta, down along the U.S. and Canada border Tuesday night into Wednesday. Pretty inconsequential. It's this next storm system that comes in here Wednesday night into Thursday, December 18th, 19th, that I think has the next best chance of bringing some accumulating snow to portions of the prairie, depending on the exact track that we get, from this one. Good, not great agreement here from the European model and the GFS as we just kind of look at this would be about sunrise on Monday morning. The European with the area of low pressure kind of lifting up along the border of Manitoba and Ontario, while the GFS has this a little bit kind of weaker but further off to the south, both of which result in wintry precipitation across eastern Saskatchewan, central and southern Manitoba. So we're really kind of splitting hairs here. We see this big polar high come down over the prairie, bringing another shot of bitterly cold, dry air across the region here kind of Tuesday into Wednesday and Thursday, December 17, 18, 19. And then it's as we get into Thursday, December 19th into the 20th that we'll see that next disturbance potentially slip through the prairie, bringing another chance for some accumulating snow. So as we just look side by side, Euro on the left, GFS on the right, this is your total snow accumulation over the next week. So taking it through December 19th and 20th, you see the corridor of snow there stacking up anywhere from 5 to 15, locally higher in that 15 to 25 centimeter range across eastern Saskatchewan into central and southern Manitoba. That is Sunday and Monday. And then you see kind of some disagreement there on that later week, Thursday into Friday storm system that could potentially slip from northwest to southeast across the prairie here, bringing another corridor of some light powdery snow to the region here. We'll kind of suss that one out as we get into next week. So as we look at this, it's bitterly cold at times, but the pattern is not really, it's not a robust one that's bringing a lot of widespread precipitation. So the chance of picking up 3 inches or more of total snowfall over the next 7 days gets into that 50 to 60 percent range across eastern Saskatchewan into central and southern Manitoba. That's where we get that snow Sunday and Monday, and then another chance of snow Thursday into Friday. A lot of uncertainty in that Thursday-Friday snowfall. That's why you see pretty low probabilities across portions of Alberta into southwestern Saskatchewan. Certainly possible that we could be talking about some snow in those areas Thursday and Friday, but just pretty low confidence in that. And as it looks right now, not a widespread heavy snowmaker. We're talking about a corridor here of maybe 5 to 15 centimeters somewhere there across Alberta and Saskatchewan. Temperatures continue to fluctuate. We'll see that warming trend as we head into the early part of next week, followed by another shot of bitterly cold air. We may be looking at a mild trend in the last 5 to 10 days of December. We'll watch this, of course, relatively speaking, mild for late December, purposes. You're talking about getting maybe closer to the freezing mark, maybe thawing out a little bit across the region here. Something to kind of look forward to. As again, we talk about another shot of bitterly cold air slipping into the prairie during that December 16th through the 18th time frame. Couple chances for some snow in the east there. Again, we talked about Sunday and Monday in depth. Again, Edmonton, December 16th through the 18th, bitterly cold air in place. A little longer lasting the further east you make it. Saskatoon, you get that shot of cold air the 16th through the 20th. Similar look here in Regina. And then in Winnipeg, the thaw only gets us up to a balmy high of -1 on Sunday before you're back down to seeing those highs in the -10 to -15 range. Overnight lows once again around -20 mid to late next week.